Welcome to Dairyland Unscripted, a commemorative podcast hosted by me, Pat Conley.
I've been thinking about this podcast for about 2 years, trying to figure out how can I bring a piece of Dairyland that's not visible from the front counter to people out in the world. So guys, I'll be honest with you. Today when I was driving down here, I was thinking, throw it in the trash. I don't want to do this. A lot going on in my mind. Made me think back to what my brother Chuck may have thought back in 1982 when he bought Dairyland. Taking that a step further, what did Bert Skogmo think in 1955 when he built Dairyland? Did they have the same nervous energy that I was experiencing today? Did they have doubt? Bert created a legacy that's still part of our community today. There have been other owners since then. Over time, I hope as I do this podcast, I can speak more about the owners, the transitions, and so on. But honestly, today my goal is to just give you some snippets of what makes Dairyland so special. Maybe to share some memories that will trigger your memories. And then you can fill in the blanks. What's so special for you that makes Dairyland special here? Because that's what it's all about, our customers. Not just the money that goes in the till. Yeah, that's important. If we didn't have money going in the till, we wouldn't be here. But let's back up and put that in perspective. It's the friendly faces coming into the store. It's the employees behind the counter that greet you. 1955, Bert greeted the very first customer with the words, "Welcome to Dairyland. How may I help you?" The other owners since then continued that tradition, training their employees to say, "Welcome to Dairyland. How may I help you?" When you come through our drive-thru today, 2025, 70 years later, what's the greeting? "Welcome to Dairyland. How may I help you?" Or as the words change a little bit, "Welcome to Dairyland. What may I get started for you?" Listen to those words. Welcome to Dairyland. What may I get started for you? That just hit me like a rock. Bert Skogmo started a legacy 70 years ago. Today, our teenage employees continue that same legacy. They say please, they say thank you, they make mistakes, they make work fun. Gene, I'm going to pass this off to you so you can put it in front of the camera so they can see it up close. We might call Gene Vanna once in a while. Keep it simple, keep it friendly, keep it fun. That was Bert's motto in 1955. It's still our motto today. My brother Chuck, he'd take that a step further. Be humble, be thankful. And then he'd also say, "Patrick, you're only as good as your last sale." Oh, I could smack him sometimes when he says stuff like that, but he's right. It wasn't about a sale. It was about the service behind it. What may we get started for you? Last week, Jean was painting Charlie Brown. When she came inside from painting Charlie Brown, giving him a new coat, fancy, bright paint, he looks great. Oh my gosh, he looks great. She said to me, "I wonder how many children have held Charlie Brown's hand." We've had Charlie Brown here since 2018. I think it was 18 or 19 when we brought in the Peanuts characters. So I was thinking about that a day or two later, and I said to my wife, as we looked out into the lobby, looking at two families with their newborn children in the store, one in one corner, one in the other corner. And I said to my wife, I wonder how many families have sat in those seats. Those kids sitting in their kids' seat, trusting mom and dad to bring them into a cool life, sitting at the Dairyland tables. What got started there? Oh, take a deep breath, Patrick. 70 years of that. First time visits, people coming in the store with their kids, first dates, first arguments, first makeup arguments. That's pretty cool. So many memories. Pretty humbling. Wow. Lots to be thankful for. Memories. I tell you what, they're not my memories. That's the community's memories. So that's why we're doing the podcast today. I'm going to be brief and short to the point today. Not a goal of stretching for 40 minutes of filling airspace, because then it's just me. What I hope to do as we talk, share this little bit of time together, is to trigger some memories in your mind. Things that make you feel proud to say, I've been to Dairyland. I know Pat and Jean. I knew Bert Skogmo. I worked there back in 1970. People have said, I remember driving my 57 Chevy through here. And someone else will say, I had my Ford truck. The memories that you guys have, boy, I can't even begin to think to fill that space. But hopefully, as you watch this, you think, yeah, pretty cool place. Sure glad that tradition is there. If I could talk to Bert today, even though he's passed away, I'd say two things. One, Bert, how did you know when it was time to be done? I'd want to know that for sure. And then I'd also say, Bert, did you ever imagine that you started a legacy 70 years ago that has the potential to go well beyond the Conleys? Because it's not about the Conleys. We've been part of it. Yeah, that's for sure. 44 years for me. 30 years. We're working on 30 years for Jean and I. But it's been about the employees. It's been about the customers. It's been about the region. It's been about the nation, worldwide. I wrote a book back in 2023. If these walls could talk, if the walls of Dairyland could talk, what do you think those stories would be? What do you think it would say to the changing world from 1955 to 2025? The good, the bad, the ugly, the fantastic, the horrific, everything in between. What would this store say? So we're doing the podcast now to reflect on those things. Throughout the summer, we'll be doing a podcast every other week. I'll film it on Monday or Tuesday. We'll go live on Thursday. The in-between weeks, we'll be doing a newsletter. What you will find as time goes on, we're trying to be very polite and humble as we say this. This may well be the last year for Pat and Jean running Dairyland. If we had the energy that we had when we first bought the store back in 1997, I was 28, Jean was 26. We're a little bit older now. So what we're hoping to do is to show the energy that comes from this store. Show the hope. Keep the memories alive. Preserve this little piece of history that sits here in Otter Tail County, west central Minnesota, Fergus Falls. Take that a step further, bigger. We can travel in the winter months, and people from Arizona know about us. We've been on a mountain, rock climbing, and people knew our restaurant. We've been on an airplane flying overseas to Ireland, and people knew about Dairyland. Now that's cool. That's beyond cool, if you ask me. And it's not about Pat and Jean. It's about Dairyland and the people who make up the community and the region to keep Dairyland alive and strong. There's not another Dairyland in the nation. There's not. They might have the same name, but you will not find a red building with white trim that looks like our store, that shares the memories of Dairyland, good and bad. The personalities that have been inside of the store, the people walking by. So as I wrap things up today from our podcast, what I want to stress is that we're doing our best to preserve Bert's words, keep it friendly, keep it simple, keep it fun. Chuck would say, be humble, be thankful. And that's where we are. We are thankful. The day will come where we will transition to say, welcome to Dairyland. We've been so thankful to have the opportunity to serve you. Thanks for the memories. Let's make a lot more.